We humans have difficulty processing information in a rational, unbiased manner, once we have developed an opinion about an issue. As the classical historian Thucydides wrote in the history of the Peloponnesian War, it is a habit of mankind to entrust to careless hope what they long for, and to use sovereign reason to thrust aside what they do not want. People like to feel good about themselves, and discovering that a belief that they highly value is incorrect makes them feel bad about themselves. Therefore, people will seek information that supports their existing beliefs. This cognitive behavior is known as confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is the tendency to search for, interpret, favor, and recall information in a way that confirms or supports one's pre-existing beliefs or hypotheses. This can occur subconsciously, influencing how we interpret and recall information, and it can lead to inaccurate conclusions and compromise one's view of reality. Humans are incessantly bombarded with information and cannot possibly take the time to carefully process each piece of information to form an unbiased conclusion. Confirmation bias is a cognitive shortcut we use when gathering and interpreting information. Evaluating evidence takes time and energy, and so our brains look for shortcuts to make the process more efficient. No one likes to be proven wrong. Deeply held views often form our identities, so disproving them can be uncomfortable. We might even believe that being wrong suggests that we lack intelligence. This leads to overconfidence. People may be overconfident in their beliefs because they have accumulated evidence to support them, when in reality they have overlooked or ignored a great deal of evidence refuting their beliefs. Evidence which, if they had considered it, should lead them to question their beliefs. This bias may lead to risky decision-making and cause people to overlook warning signs and other important information. Take the medical field. Doctors often have a preliminary hunch regarding the diagnosis of a medical condition early in the treatment process. This hunch can interfere with the doctor's ability to assess information that may indicate an alternative diagnosis is more likely. For example, when physicians have an idea about a patient's diagnosis, they may focus on evidence that supports their theory, while they undervalue evidence that supports an equally plausible alternative diagnosis. Confirmation bias also distorts our understanding of past events by causing us to selectively remember information that aligns with our existing beliefs. According to the schema theory of memory, we use knowledge structures built around our past experiences called schemas to interpret new information. When we encounter something new that fits with an existing schema, it's easily encoded into our memory. Information that doesn't fit as perfectly is more easily forgotten. This bias creates self-fulfilling prophecies. Once we have formed an expectation about a person based on our initial social interaction, we may unconsciously seek information that reinforces our expectations through our later interactions with them. In doing so, we can appear closed-minded or conversely participate in relationships that do not serve us. Research shows confirmation bias has a troubling influence on hiring practices. For instance, job applicants with accents or ethnic names are often viewed less positively by interviewers. During job interviews, this preconception causes HR employees to elicit information consistent with their negative impression, while ignoring information pointing to the candidate's job suitability. As a result, qualified candidates may be overlooked entirely. Today, social media allows delusional ideas to spread rapidly in echo chambers. False information and fake news stories gain credibility simply because these perspectives feel like the prevailing norm. This can be especially concerning in terms of socio-political cooperation and unity. So, how do we stop this? While it is likely impossible to eliminate confirmation bias completely, we can manage it. The first step is awareness. By understanding its effect and how it works, we are more likely to identify it in our own decision-making. Psychologist Robert Cialdini suggests 3 approaches. First, listen to your gut feeling. We often have a physical reaction to uncomfortable stimuli, even if we have complied with similar requests in the past. Don't use that precedent as a reference point. Recall past actions and ask yourself, knowing what I know now, if I could go back in time, would I make the same commitment? Second, because the bias is most likely to occur early in the decision-making process, we should focus on starting with a neutral fact base. This can be achieved by diversifying where we get our information and having multiple sources. Reach for reputable, neutral outlets to have more agency in your beliefs. Third, when hypotheses are being drawn from assembled data, have interpersonal discussions that explicitly aim at identifying individual cognitive biases. Engaging in debate is a productive way to challenge our views and expose ourselves to information we may have otherwise avoided. Confirmation bias can easily lead us to reach inaccurate and even unethical conclusions. It's essential to recognize our vulnerability to it and actively guard against it by being open to evidence that is not consistent with our beliefs. Don't let a cognitive shortcut destroy your ability to see reality. Be aware, be curious, and actively look for the evidence you hope not to find.